You're listening to I Love This TV Show, The Golden Girls.
Hi, and welcome to the I Love This TV Show podcast. I'm your host, Noelle from pastasworld.com. Each season of this podcast will contain a TV show in full. This means the length of the season depends on the length of the TV show. The first season is, of course, The Golden Girls. The Golden Girls, Season 2, Episode 6, Big Daddy's Little Lady. Dorothy enters the kitchen and finds her mother looking through the obituaries for dates. Dorothy: Ma, you're getting dates out of the obituaries? That's sick. Dorothy: It is not sick, it's practical. Life is for the living. Marie is Lost is my date for the early bird special at the Howard Johnsons. Rose enters the kitchen, excited about something in the paper. She shows Dorothy it's a songwriting contest. The grand prize is $10,000 for the best new song about Miami. Rose tells her that she wrote her high school fight song and then sings it for Dorothy. Dorothy likes the tune, but not the words. She then tells Rose she used to be pretty good at poetry in high school, and the two decide to work together to make the song. Blanche comes in and they tell her as well. She's excited for them. The phone rings and it's Big Daddy. He's coming to visit and has a big surprise for her. Sophia comes back in the kitchen, upset that Tony Molinaro won't go out with her Friday. Dorothy says she's not surprised as she thinks he's still in mourning, but it's actually that Mae Broomfield beat her to him. It's another day, and Rose is at the piano, working on the music to the lyrics Dorothy wrote. They start to perform the song. Dorothy stops when, instead of a line being repeated twice, it's repeated 3 times, and thrice doesn't work. Rose starts playing with different words, and Blanche pops out before Dorothy can lose her temper. She wants to know if the perfume she's wearing can still be smelled. Blanche: Rose, Dorothy, smell me. Dorothy: I only do that with the milk, Blanche. You know the rules. Blanche: It's the last drop of that perfume Big Daddy gave me on my 21st birthday. I want to make sure it still has its fragrance. After all, it is 20 years old. Rose: Oh, Blanche, if your 21st birthday was only 20 years ago, you'd only be 41. Blanche: That's right. Rose: Gee, you look terrible for your age. Blanche laughs as she exits. The doorbell rings and it's Big Daddy. Blanche runs back out again to greet him. He greets everyone. Sophia's greeting is the most unique. Big Daddy: Do my eyes deceive me, or do I see Sophia Petrillo standing before me? Or did y'all get Sophia Loren as a new roommate? Sophia: Get out the boots. He's back. Meanwhile, Blanche starts speaking another version of English that Dorothy clearly doesn't like. Blanche asks what the surprise is. Big Daddy slowly tells her he's met a someone and they plan to get married. Blanche wants to meet her. He says she's coming tomorrow. Blanche screams, and she wants to give them a wedding. The phone rings and Sophia answers it. Another person has passed away. She's going to see if the husband wants to go see a movie with her. Dorothy just nods frustratedly. It's another day, and Rose and Dorothy ask Blanche for her opinion on the song. Blanche finally gets their attention. There's a small glitch in the song. Blanche tells them someone from the catering company should be arriving and goes in the kitchen to put on coffee. The doorbell rings and Dorothy assumes that this person is from the catering company. She's surprised, however, and Rose takes a few minutes to catch on. Rose: What a coincidence. Blanche's father is marrying a Margaret Spencer from Atlanta, too. Only she's much older, I think. What do you think, Dorothy? Dorothy: Whoa! While Dorothy and Rose are still processing this person, Blanche comes out of the kitchen. She introduces herself. Before Miss Spencer says a word, Dorothy attempts the introduction. Dorothy. Blanche, this is, I'd like you to meet, say hello to Big Mommy. Blanche is left standing there, shocked and speechless. The two finally start speaking, but Blanche is a bit snippy. Blanche, maybe we ought to get her a booster seat. Dorothy tries to cut off Blanche, who suddenly starts talking like someone else. Rose starts asking Margaret if they've rebuilt Atlanta since Gone with the Wind. Dorothy tries to get herself, Rose, and Margaret out on the lanai so Blanche can speak with her father, who just arrived privately, but their conversation does not go well. Big Daddy. Well, what do you think of Maggie? Margaret. Maggie. Margaret. Blanche. Does it matter? Big Daddy. Well, of course it does. Blanche. All right then, I'll be frank. I think she's a gold-digging hussy. Big Daddy. Now you watch your tongue, missy. Blanche has taken issue with the fact that Margaret is about her own age. The fight intensifies. So Big Daddy storms out after calling for Margaret, and he disowns Blanche. She's left standing there, shocked. Dorothy and Rose take a cheesecake break as they've hit a bump in the song. Sophia and Blanche join them in the kitchen. Dorothy points out that older men are with younger women all the time. Blanche thinks they all look ridiculous, and Dorothy points out that the men don't think they look ridiculous. Dorothy goes on to tell a story about a man who walked into a restaurant. He had on 4 gold chains and his shirt open to his navel. He was clearly in his 60s, and she thought people were staring at his bypass surgery scars, but they were actually staring at the 20-something lady with him. Rose then breaks into a St. Olaf story. Rose. The point is nobody knows why 2 people fall in love, and it's really nobody's business. Blanche storms off to see her father and gives the other 2 a line for their song. They head back to the piano to work. Blanche knocks on the door of her father's room. He lets her in. They sit down to talk and have a heart-to-heart. Blanche apologizes. Her father tells Blanche that they want her blessing. Margaret returns, and Blanche welcomes her to the family. Back at the house, Blanche gets a postcard from her father in the Bahamas. The honeymoon is going well. Blanche says she's fine with it as long as they're in love and happy, and she doesn't have to call her mother or mommy. Dorothy and Rose come back from their singing contest. Well, not the singing contest, but the songwriting contest. Turns out they came in second place. Dorothy is pretty ticked off, and I think Rose is too. Blanche asks them to play it. It takes a little convincing, but they finally do. Blanche and Sophia join in with them about halfway through, and they all sing the song and its big finish together. I'll be right back after a quick break. Favorite quotes. Dorothy. Ma, you're getting dates out of the obituaries? That's sick. Dorothy. The lyric is, Miami is nice, so I'll say it twice. Sophia. Get out the boots, he's back. Dorothy. I once heard her make that sound, and I can assure you she was happy. Dorothy. This is, I'd like you to meet, say hello to Big Mommy. Blanche. That child over there is trying to steal my daddy away. She's no better than a tick on a slow-moving hound dog. This episode, Sophia is quite the character. She is reading through the obituaries to see who's passed away, to see who would be the widow that she could call up and go out on a date with. Dorothy thinks it's sick, and I find it interesting that Sophia calls it practical. But at the same time, as people do get older, there are fewer people in that age bracket. So I guess practical is kind of a way you could look at it. Because I know as my mom got older, she commented that many of her friends are passing away, and that she only had a handful of people left that were her own age. Now, the songwriting contest, that's interesting. The songwriting contest would clearly be fun. That'd be something I would totally do because I sing and I write music myself. And a grand prize of 10,000 even today is really good. In the 80s, even better. Song about Miami. Oh my gosh, yes. The discussion that comes up about Dorothy being tall, not being able to get dates, and writing poetry because of it. I don't really think just because you don't have dates, that's going to make you better at writing poetry. I think either you have the ability to be a creative writer that has talent, or you do not. It's not just as simple because you have nothing else to do. Suddenly you're this poet. So I found that kind of interesting. And Rose playing the piano. I think this is actually one of two episodes in the show where we see Rose playing a piano. The other episode is when Dorothy enters the beauty contest, beauty pageant with Sophia at Shady Pines, and they do Sonny and Cher. And I find that pretty funny too. But it does suck that at the end of the episode, by the time they've finished the song, they've submitted it, they came in second place. It's such a great song. I mean, even every time I watch this episode, I'm humming that song on and off for a couple of days after because it's just really catchy. Coming in second and being treated like crap. Wasn't there a second prize? I mean, it would make sense, most things, first, second, third. So, yeah, that made no sense to me, and I don't think they specified who the actual winner was, if it was a dude, if it was a chick, but it would be kind of interesting if we had the ability to know that. Regardless, they should not have been treated poorly because they came in second place. And when they played the song for Sophia and for Blanche at the end of the episode, it really is a great song. Ooh, all right. Big Daddy and his little lady. So that is unique indeed. I'm not really sure how big the age gap is. We could say maybe 20 years, but they're both past a certain point, I think. I mean, age difference really only matters if you want it to matter. That's how I've always felt about it. I mean, it is what it is. There could be someone who's half your age who has twice as much life experience as you. Age really just represents the number of years you've been on the earth. It doesn't really represent the amount of life experience that you have had. Both Margaret and Big Daddy both lost their spouse to long-term illnesses, and both had to see them go through the same thing. They understood how that felt. So that gave them another level of understanding and affection for each other because they actually know what they went through with their spouses. Not everybody can say that in regards to people that they're with or even people that they know and love. That's a really, really impossible thing. Dorothy, not Dorothy, good heavens. Dorothy's reaction, though, oh my gosh, that, whoa, say hi to Big Mommy. That's just priceless. I mean, is it really that difficult for someone who's supposed to be as cultured and intelligent and educated as her to be able to say, this is the thing? I mean, I guess for her, the age difference was really a big deal. Bigger than for like Rose, because Rose at one point is like, love is love, and age doesn't matter. And it's like sometimes, I mean, Rose is the simpleton in the show, but sometimes she is also the voice of reason, the voice of truth, and she's not ashamed to put that out there in any way. She always kind of brings that in a very pure form. Betty White does an amazing job playing Rose. while she probably could have played Blanche really, really well, I think she just did this really, really, really great thing with Rose, because it's a character that over the years since then I've seen many shows try to copy, try to portray, but they don't do a good job of it. Now, Blanche, she has this whole massive temper tantrum. When she gets fired up, she's fired up. And there is just no stopping her. There's no talking sense into her. Nothing at all. I do like the fact, though, that towards the end of the episode, she goes and talks to her father and they discuss things. And they actually have a heart to heart where feelings are shared. Because a lot of times that doesn't happen. It's just yelling, screaming, no one listening to the other, no one taking the other's feelings into consideration. And the fact that they both love and respect each other enough to do that really speaks volumes about their father-daughter relationship. And I really appreciated that very much. But oh my gosh, her line at the end where she's like, I'm fine with it as long as I don't have to call her mommy or big mommy. That would be so funny if Blanche called her big mommy. Ooh wee. But all was well in the end.
Thanks for tuning in to the I Love This TV Show podcast. If you would like to make a donation in support of this podcast, you can through Cash App to Pasta26MC. That's pasta like the food, the number 2, the number 6, M as in monkey, C as in cat. If you would like to sponsor this podcast or advertise on it, please send an email to podcast@pastasworld.com. As always, you can go to pastasworld.com for more information. It's been great reliving this episode with you. Please check out the podcast website, anchor.fm/I Love This TV Show, no spaces. You'll be able to see the show notes and also support this podcast. To check out everything I'm up to and nerding about, head over to pastasworld.com. You'll also find additional content there. Thanks for listening and stay golden.